back to Around H-Town
with KRBE's Freddy Cruz.
Reading and writing are the foundations for a solid education and prosperous career, and thankfully there are people like my next guest here in Houston that are doing everything they can to inspire kids of all ages to write their own stories. Please welcome the founder of iWRITE, my friend Melissa Williams.
Hello.
All right, so last time you were here, iWRITE was Read 3.0. What's happened in the past besides the name change?
Right. I mean, we've gone through so many changes, and changing from Read 3.0 to the iWRITE Literacy Organization has really just opened up many doors of flexibility because we've been so reading focused, but reading with the purpose of writing as the end result. So now we really can embrace those writing programs, not only through our publishing contests that everybody knows us for with iWRITE Short Stories by Kids for Kids,
Sure,
but also with programs that we can get right into the schools, no matter if it's Title I, if it's charter, if it's private. We have a program now that is good for all kids, not kids that are just trying to get onto publication.
And you brought me something. I love this.
I did.
I love gifts. It is, and it's not mine, but it's for my kids, a writer's journal with I, the guy. Please tell me about I.
So one of the other new things that have happened at the iWRITE Literacy Organization, it was the release of our mascot this season. So we released I, the guy. He's this weird, snarky, personified eye, dotted eye with an eyeball on the top.
Yeah.
And he's really fun for kids to get them into the fun side of writing. So in the I, the Guy journals, everything's done through comic book bubble prompts where the kids get to do all different types of writing. So we've got journal writing, songwriting, script writing, letter writing. There's even love letter writing on one of the pages.
Oh my.
The kids love that. And the way that we do it, there's this psychology component in the journal to really get kids to want to write and not take it quite as seriously as they have to in the classroom.
Sure.
It's really marrying the beauty of creativity with writing with what they've already been taught. And it's almost that concept of they're learning and they don't realize it because they're having fun, which is so much better.
That's the best kind of learning, too, when you don't even realize that you're learning.
It is. And
Yeah.
so that's what we're trying to embrace with him. So as they get to know a little bit more about his fun personality, they get to learn a little bit more about themselves. It's a therapeutic outlet because we really need kids to write more so that they can express themselves. I see you've opened it up to the love letter page.
Yeah, it's the love. Yeah, there is no mention of the word bae because bae is not a real word. Okay, kids. But I'm liking his tie. I mean, this is a really good thing that you are really inspiring these kids to do so many things other than be on an electronic device. I'm looking at your website. 50 hours a week. The kids are on their iPods and their iPads, and sure, they have a place in your life. But
of course.
50 hours, that's a long time.
It's a lot. And what it's doing, it's almost numbing the brain instead of just firing the brain. So we have to create that balance. And that's what we're trying to do with these writing-focused activities so that the kids are doing real-time activities instead of these hyper-stimulated activities that really aren't exercising the frontal cortex of the brain the way that it should. And that's important when kids are learning to be patient, learning not just instant gratification, but delayed gratification.
Right.
So we're trying to really hone in on that with this writing exercise.
Now, what are some of the programs that kids and parents can get involved with this summer?
So this summer, these journals are out for the public if they want to go ahead and start, because it's going to be a really great thing to keep that summer learning loss down when your kids are home for the summer and they have nothing to do and they're bored and you're trying to keep that balance off of electronics. Give them an I, the Guy journal so that they're able to go in and make sure that they're not forgetting what's going on at school, but it's fun at the same time.
And your teachers will appreciate it when it's time to go back.
They will. And of course, all the proceeds go back to the organization so that we can get these journals into the hands of kids who just can't afford them.
This is amazing. I'm talking to founder of iWRITE, Melissa Williams. Now, you are an accomplished children's book author yourself. So for a young parent that is on the prowl for books for their young kids, what steps should they take, or what are some books and authors that you would recommend to them?
Definitely. So I'm glad you brought this up because Scholastic put out a report just a couple years ago. The way to build a frequent reader is to make sure that you always put books in front of them that they enjoy. So figure out what it is that they love. If they love the whole Greek mythology, get them the entire Percy Jackson series. If they love sharks and they love underwater animals. Make sure that that's a focus inside their home libraries. And with the books that I did over the years, Iggy the Iguana series, all the animals are reptiles, and all of the main characters are boys. Because I found that if you can get a boy to read the book, all the girls will kind of hop in because there's other girl characters that are having fun. But you got to make sure that those boys find a character that they can relate to as well, or they're not going to pick up that book.
And you have a contest that you do every year that features kid authors and illustrators. And what can kids, because my 11-year-old is dead set on writing a story by the end of the summer.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
And it's really cool. But for parents that have kids with the same goal, what would you recommend they do to get them on the right track?
So the first thing parents want to do with their kids is make sure that they stay focused on what they want that story to be about.
Yeah.
Very often that can be a really huge task, so we have to hone it in on something very simple, the character. Stories, movies, they're all character driven as opposed to plot driven these days. The kids fall in love with the character, so that's what they actually relate to. So develop that character. What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What do they look like? Where did they come from? How do they talk? What's their biggest fear? What do they love the most in life? Get all of that in, and in that you're going to start to see what are their flaws, what are they scared of, what are their problems, so that you can actually build a conflict out of who the character is, so that having a problem in the story just comes out of nowhere. You find a way to resolve it. You put in some secondary characters, a villain, a sidekick who's fun and goofy to help your main character hero out. And by the end of it, it just happens. But you have to start with the character first.
The main character, that is very in-depth. I would have never guessed that.
It's fun, though, you know.
Yeah.
And you can do it in 3 or 4 minutes is the fun part about it when you're in a big group of kids.
And you have do you still do the publishing contest?
Yes, that is still our favorite time of the year, where we bring 65 kids together across the nation in November every year who have won a spot in the iWRITE Short Stories by Kids for Kids publishing contest. And that's for 3rd through 12th graders. We publish short stories, poetry, and then cover art. And we find often if we can get the artist involved, very often after, they'll enter a story the next year. So now they're writing because they started with art.
And for people that want to donate to the cause,
yes,
what can they do throughout the year that they can donate their time and their resources to iWRITE?
Definitely. So we have volunteer opportunities with our I the Guy program, where we go into the schools. This summer, we're going into summer schools where kids are having to go back to school to make sure that they are up to par for their STAR tests, of course, and then and some of the other standardized tests out there. But what they can do is get on connectforliteracy.org to look up some of our volunteer opportunities, and then everything is at iWRITE.org, and that's where our donors and our sponsors go to get involved, to sponsor a school, to sponsor during our luncheon. We have so many opportunities, and the need is there for us to be able to keep doing what we're doing in Houston.
We are looking for the next J.K. Rowling, and kids, if you're listening right now, it could be you, but you got to pick up a book. You got to start writing this summer. Get off the device and connect with my friend Melissa Williams, the founder of iWRITE, the website iWRITE.org. Thank you for coming by around H.